and welcome to In the Know. I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. I want to thank you for joining us. In the Know is a program that helps you to stay informed and, well, I suppose safe, right? And today I say safety because we have the Norfolk County Sheriff. That would be Patrick McDermott joining us once again. So, Pat, Sheriff, welcome back.
Thanks, Mark. Volume, 15 we get now, maybe.
So quite a few out there. There's quite a few episodes.
We've been staying pretty consistent on our monthly shows, so it's great to be back as always.
Great to have you.
Film our monthly performance here.
Absolutely, and we should mention that this program does go out throughout the county, so we thank the access centers throughout Norfolk County that do air this. A lot of great information that you share every time you join us.
No doubt, no doubt. This month will be no different. We get some great things to report. So.
All right, well, here we go. The theme, most of these programs have themes.
Yes, we've been working towards those.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The theme for this program is patriotism.
Yeah, it's ironic that we chose this as a theme anyways, and I'm a very patriotic guy. I'm the son of a World War II veteran. I've got uncles that served throughout World War II and Korea, Vietnam, and service members, cousins that have served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then just generally the United States itself. We all should believe that this is the greatest country on the earth, and yet, according to a recent poll, we've watched the level of patriotism diminish for whatever reason. Sometimes it's political in nature, the infighting that might be going on in Washington, but what we've done here in Massachusetts, in Quincy, but Norfolk County, some of the things we've been able to do really rise to the level of making us a real patriotic community. And we've had some great about last month or so, two great events, obviously, with Flag Day here in the city of Quincy, and certainly the 4th of July holidays, and certainly the celebrations that go on there. So those are some of the great things that we've been up to.
There's a show and tell component to this program, as people know, and we will be showing some photographs of Flag Day and events happening around Flag Day. So as those pop up on the screen, and there we are in Dedham.
So we have two Flag Day celebrations in Norfolk County. Quincy certainly does an unbelievable job. It's one of the biggest parades around for Flag Day. And Dedham, I got to give them kudos as well. They did a great job. They've also run a Flag Day parade. Dedham always does their Flag Day parade on Flag Day. So no matter what the day is, it's on Flag Day. Quincy always does theirs on a Saturday, and that helps out the cause, so we're not double dipping this year. We were able to hit both parades.
I've got to stop you there just to mention this photograph. This is a unique photograph of the Dedham Parade.
Great photo. I have to give kudos, I think, to Garrett on that one. I think Garrett or Courtney, one of the two, were saying that it'd be great to get a visual from behind, seeing where the float is going down the street. And it's just such a great thing to be able to engage the participants, the community. We actually, the Sheriff's Office put together a great float that we use in all of our parades, and we use it as a kind of a team building experience. We decorate the float for the various themes that we have going on, and we invite the families to bring their kids to come on board. And we, especially around Flag Day and the celebration of Independence Day, I think we've invested in thousands of handheld flags to give out along the route, and I'm satisfied to say that patriotism is very strong in Norfolk County, in particular in Quincy and Dedham. And I give kudos to both of those communities for a well-run event, great fireworks display, and it's really an opportunity. Flag Day kind of kicks off the summer festivities for all of our constituents. So,
what better time and place to reaffirm patriotism?
It is, and we're still a baby country in the world. And we're an example. We're a shining light to some of those struggling countries throughout the world. We are a beacon of hope. It's the reason why people want to come here in droves to be here, to live here, to work, to raise a family. We're a country of opportunity. So for those of us that have been here for a couple of generations, and my family came here from Ireland back at the turn of the century, and so we've been blessed 2 generations later. I'm the sheriff of Norfolk County. Many of my cousins are doctors, lawyers, and our participants. We always were raised with a spirit of community. Like I said, we were raised with a great family that were patriotic unto themselves, and so we want to hand on to the next generation the values of patriotism, of community service, and giving back. And that's something that's an ideal for the United States. And I think this month with June and into July, great opportunity for a showcase of what this country has to offer the world.
We should mention that Braintree actually has their parade prior to Flag Day, maybe one of the first.
Prior to the 4th of July. So
prior to the 4th
right
of
after
July.
the Flag Day parade, Braintree has kind of a mix. They celebrate the flag, they celebrate law enforcement, military heroes, but it's a celebration getting ready. It's Braintree Day, and it gets the community ready for the 4th of July celebration. So as I was going down the street in Braintree, I was proclaiming Braintree given a great way to kick off the 4th of July celebration. So it was a great day in Braintree. Luckily, we've had great weather for all of these parades, and the crowds were really big. And I'm an old DJ at heart, so I like to spin a few tunes, and we have quite a patriotic playlist that the folks seem to enjoy quite a bit.
And for the 4th of July in Quincy, Marymount, and Squantum.
I love coming back to Quincy on 4th of July. There's a lot of parades in Norfolk County. Stoughton has a parade, Randolph, I think Norwood has a parade. There's a bunch of them. There's so many that I'd love to be at every one of them. This year was particularly special for me just because it was a coming home thing to make sure I recognized my hometown of Quincy. And I was in the Squantum parade when I was a little kid. My Aunt Carol Dankert always hosted the family out off of Deerfield Street. And I started marching that parade when I was a kid. And so it's a little homecoming for me, and it was an honor to be there with my team out in Squantum. These are community parades too. I mean, it really is down to earth. Like the floats are made street by street, and the theme out in Squantum, they had a float that won first prize, was a salute to the Squantum Air Base and Amelia Earhart. So it was really cool to see that happen. And Marymount, no different. You get to Marymount, they have a whole weekend of celebrations there down at Marymount Beach, a bike parade, a celebration of the kids, and then it all ends in the big parade on the 4th. So we ran right from Squantum to Marymount and worked out well.
Very nice. Some great images there, some great times, certainly had by all. We will now talk about a new Norfolk County hero. Before we talk about who that is, just explain what the award is in general.
So the Norfolk County, this was once again an opportunity for us when I became sheriff to salute those unsung heroes in our community that work towards the greater good, that are doing something that is somewhat unheralded, but yet should be recognized and applauded. So we asked for communities to submit nominations to our team, and we vet those nominations. And we want to give everybody the award because there's so many great things. But we select award recipients from time to time, and we always make sure that the people we select stand out above and beyond the crowd. And this month's recipient, really unbelievable, Adam Taj, a young kid from down in Franklin, who during the winter storm last year, Adam was driving by a woman in distress who needed some help shoveling out. And the woman didn't have a shovel. So Adam asked his mom if he could use his own money to go and buy a shovel to help the woman and shovel her car out. And he did so. He helped the woman out. And when she asked to reimburse him for the shovel, he refused and said, no, this is just what we do. And I got to meet Adam down at his school. We did a little special surprise with his mom, and we brought the award in for his classroom. And there's a picture of me and Adam here. Adam jammed himself up playing some basketball, so he's on a crutch. But he is a special young man who I know has a future of commitment to his community. And if you want to look at a patriotic kid, it's Adam Taj. He's a kid that wants to give back consistently. So to recognize Adam for this Heroes Award was an honor for me to do that.
Very nice. Congratulations, Adam. Job well done. And I'm sure we'll continue to be helpful.
Yes.
Let's talk about more recognition. And an officer, Brett Leclerc.
LeClaire, yeah.
Leclerc.
Brett Leclerc is one of our officers. You know, we make sure our staff, we instill in our staff, and it's something that they learn early at the academy. You know, we have the care and custody of justice-involved individuals, so we know that we need to take care of individuals when in need. And Brett Leclerc is one of those officers who now is being recognized as the meritorious recognition as a Correctional Officer Employee of the Year award, given with the Department of Corrections. He actually, we were out in Worcester at this particular ceremony, recognized for his life-saving efforts to rescue 2 children from an automobile accident. Brett was in the right place at the right time, and more importantly, though, he acted in the capacity he was the right person for the right time at the right place. And because of his bravery and quick actions, 2 children were able to return to their families, and a grave tragedy was averted. So I'm very proud of what Brett did. I'm glad, and this was done prior to me being sheriff, so he was nominated beforehand, but I'm glad that we were able to be there to join in his well-deserved award. And so we're excited about that. But we also had a second recipient too. This is another off-duty event that occurred. Lieutenant Frank Reynolds of the Norfolk Sheriff's Office. He received the Massachusetts Medal of Life-Saving from the Massachusetts State Police. And this is back in 2019, once again, prior to me being sheriff, so we're just catching up on all this great stuff. But Lieutenant Reynolds came upon a scene of a motor vehicle accident on Route 95 North in Canton, where he positioned his cruiser behind the scene to assist 2 off-duty medically trained bystanders who had come to the scene. So Lieutenant Reynolds reported the crash 911, had state police assistants arrived, and Miss Simic, as well as Miss Coe, the 2 bystanders who were medically trained, luckily, who had stopped. They helped stabilize the victim, the cervical spine, and keeping the airways open for that individual to help them breathe. Lieutenant Reynolds also secured the area for the landing of a medical helicopter. So this was a significant medical episode, which he was able then to be transported to the hospital. What Lieutenant Reynolds, Miss Simic, as well as Miss Coe did on that day is nothing short of heroic. Because of their actions and their clear thinking, they were able to avert a disaster unto themselves. And you know, these people are trained to do this, and we know. But when tragedy such as this strikes, it's great to know that there are first responders like Frank, like Miss Simic, like Miss Coe, who are willing to jump in, take action, and do what needs to be done to avert tragedy. So I salute all of our heroes for what they do. They're all patriotic, and that's why we celebrate them this month.
And great, beyond the fact that events were life-saving, they also inspire all of us to behave in the same manner.
Exactly, and I always want to use this opportunity too. Everybody should take CPR courses. Everybody should take a course in first aid and first response. You never know, or a simple thing, how to do the Heimlich maneuver. You never know when the opportunity is going to present itself for you to be a hero, an unlikely hero, and it could be happening at the local restaurant. It could be happening at Alba's on a Friday night, and somebody has a medical episode. And we talked about the Squantum Parade earlier. A year ago, we had that medical episode where the driver of one of the vehicles pulling the float had a massive heart attack. And our staff, the sheriff's office, as well as members of the fire, the Boston Fire Pipes and Drum Corps, were able to climb on the vehicle, get it to a stop, pull out the victim, the individual, do chest compressions, do CPR. He was clinically dead at the scene. Got him to the hospital. Guess who was driving that 18-wheeler in the Squantum Parade this year? That same guy. He's here a year later. So everybody should take, we're medically trained to do it, but everybody should take the opportunity to be medically trained, at least on that basic first aid, because those seconds can translate into a lifetime for an individual.
Absolutely.
So,
and case in point, he's back this year.
He's back.
Let's talk about Superintendent Danielle Frame.
So I had the opportunity to promote Danielle Frayne. When I first became sheriff, I appointed her to the position of assistant superintendent. I subsequently appointed her to the position of superintendent. So quite rapidly she came up through the ranks, but it didn't happen fast. Superintendent Frayne has been a member of the Norfolk County Sheriff's team for 25 years, and she's worked her way through the ranks. And most recently, the association known as MALI, the Massachusetts Association of Women in Law Enforcement, recently decided to recognize her incredible leadership in the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, but not just in our agency. She assists throughout Norfolk County as well as the Commonwealth and the country as she goes out as a nationally recognized individual in corrections. And she's somebody who I had the honor of working with for a year and a half now. I've watched her rise to every occasion, every challenge I've set forth for the agency. She's led the team to make sure we meet the challenge. She's continuously pushing everyone at our agency to maintain the highest level of professionalism, integrity, and we're always on a pursuit of excellence. And that's a pursuit that you don't ever really achieve. It's in the pursuit of excellence that you see achievement. And Superintendent Frayne is leading that effort every single day. And I'm thrilled we were able to attend that ceremony at the Irish Cultural Center in Canton as they awarded her with that leadership award. So she is hopefully here to stay. I'm not allowing anybody to steal her away from me. So we applaud Superintendent Frayne. She's a resident of the town of Weymouth. Her and her husband works for me as well, and her two daughters are very proud of their mother.
They should be, indeed. The county should be.
Absolutely.
And I guess what we're going to talk about next really involves involvement. It really is maybe it's one example of how one can give back to their community.
Yeah, we always see the end results when we talk about patriotism, and we saw it a little bit here in terms of the awards, the recognition, the medals that you get. We just saw I think it was a Vietnam veteran just get the medal from President Biden, and so that's the aftermath. But that's service that was done not because they were looking for achievement or looking for the trophy, for the medal. It was because of who they are, that patriotic spirit that lives amongst each and every person to give back and to focus on opportunities to do good for others. And there are small acts and large acts, and I don't even want to define them as small or large. I think it's sometimes the least action. It's like the Boy Scout that crosses the old woman across the street. Simple act of kindness, of public safety, but something along that road. This is a patriotic environment, and we want to encourage all of those things. And we've had a few opportunities for our team to take part in that. And most recently, I like
that you said team, because that's leading to a softball team.
Well, that's what I said. Our team makes sure that we give opportunities for everybody. We've established a running team that does road races throughout the county, which are all giving back. It's all raising money for various things. I know we did a group run in the Dunn Road race here in Quincy. We've had now an opportunity to have a softball team, which most recently, once again, we came back to the City of Presidents, where we kicked off a great afternoon of fun with about 40 of our team to raise money for a program called LifeWorks, which is out of Westwood. And LifeWorks is a charity that supports those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so with our 40 members participating, we raised about $1,400 for LifeWorks. Every little bit counts when it comes to our nonprofit work. It was a true pleasure to watch and hang out with. We don't oftentimes get the chance to hang out. Oftentimes in the work environment, we're talking business all the time. And it was great to go out to O'Rourke Field in Quincy and see the families come out, enjoy it, and they knew it was all for a good cause. So this is what builds teams up, and that's why we put together our running team. Now we have our softball team in place. I do have a golf team, so if there are golf tournaments out there, we're willing to send a team out there. Obviously help raise money for the various charities. I think we're going to be helping out Kathy Quigley next week at the South Shore YMCA, and she's having a golf tournament for the South Shore YMCA, and we'll be heading to that next week. So golf team, and I have to put my money where my mouth is a little bit. cycling team. So we're putting forth the Sheriff's cycling team, and our big charity, which is my charity, is the Pan Mass Challenge, which we will be putting a team together and raising money for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And these are patriotic opportunities. These are opportunities because patriotism is about giving back. It's selfless giving back with no expectation of anything in return. And that's what we want to provide for our staff, and we hope to encourage community members to jump on board with us.
Next, we will look at summer safety vests. Those are ongoing.
So we made it a challenge to get the word out throughout the summer about safety challenges that we all experience throughout the summer months. We kicked off our first summer safety day here in Quincy. It was sponsored by Save the Harbor, Save the Bay, and the Marymount Beach Association. We set up numerous vendors who were there. We had a vaccination clinic with Mannett Community Health Center. We had a group of our students from the ROTC program came, once again, giving back, helping set up. We had some bouncy houses. We had a canine demonstration. We had a food drive, our partnership with the United Way, as well as the Norfolk County Central Labor Council, getting some food raised. Food insecurity is a big issue going forward, even though we're moving out of the pandemic. People are still hurting for food, and the food lines at food pantries are around the corner. So this is our chance to once again empower the community, give a little back. These summer safety days are being scheduled around the county. We have a couple more coming up. I know that we have one scheduled at Babson College in Wellesley, from 10 to 1 on Saturday, July 16th. And that's going to be a lot of fun. We want to encourage people to come out to that as well. And we're working on a date, I believe, for an event in Sharon. And hopefully, we might not call it the Summer Safety Fest anymore because we'll edge towards the end of August, probably head down towards Foxborough and Rentham for our final event of the summer.
You certainly can continue it, something that's worthy of continuation into the fall. Let's talk about your visit and presentation at the National Sheriff's Association Conference.
So I'm honored I just got back from Kansas City, Missouri, and the National Sheriffs get together once a year for their annual conference to discuss strategies across the board: leadership, jail operations, budget and fiscal issues, political issues, government affairs. And I'm honored because they recognize I had submitted a couple of articles over the course of my first year as sheriff about my focus on reentry and recovery and some of the programs that we have about reentry starts on day one, and how some of the strategies that we're putting in place, we're now starting to see some of the success stories. And so I had the honor to present nationally to my colleagues from across the country, and I had sheriffs from as far away as Montana, Alabama, up in Maine. We had sheriffs from almost every state, I think, was represented at this conference, thousands of sheriffs. And it was a real thrill to give what I saw as the vision of how reentry should be structured. We had a great conversation with those in the room, and we had a lot of successful stories coming out of it. And my big theme, and I always joke about it, my strategy on all this stuff is about R&D. And most people think of that as research and development. And that sounds a little painful to me. A lot of work involved there. I'm more about rip off and duplicate. And that's not plagiarism. That's finding out what works and sharing it with other people. And if I have a program that works and I can share it with somebody else in some other community, and they can take it from me and implement it there, that to me is a success. And when I go to these conferences, I'm about rip off and duplicate all the time. I get more ideas from going to Kansas City than I could ever get out of anything else. I think that 1 week with the National Sheriffs, I have a lot of ideas on what we can do to make Norfolk County a safer place going forward. So.
Next, let's talk about the Public Safety Alliance and how that has been, I guess, appearing throughout the county. So
we've relaunched, we restructured what was a National Sheriff's Association program known as Triad. Triad was a three-tiered system, partnership between the councils on aging, a local police department, and the sheriff, hence making up the Triad program. And we really saw it, we saw it expanding over the course of time. Sheriff Bellotti had expanded with District Attorney Morrissey, and the fire departments were starting to get on board. And we really wanted to rebrand this. So we came up with the Public Safety Alliance as an opportunity for community leaders to get together. This particular picture is, I believe, the chiefs of police that attended our first meeting. But we had chiefs of police, the fire chiefs, I think that was the police and the fire. We've also invited our commissioners of public health together, because we certainly know that that's a public safety issue, certainly coming out of a pandemic like COVID. We know that health is a big issue for people. We're partnering up with our veteran service officers throughout the county. They have a seat at the Public Safety Alliance table. Local educators, we want to work with our schools, because the goal that I campaigned on when I became sheriff was that I would serve as the chief public safety officer for the county. You know, the local law enforcement folks, the local fire chief, they have their respective roles within the community. I believe in partnering throughout, you know, cross towns, find out what works in one community, can it be replicated throughout the county? And so we want to make sure that our kids are safe, our seniors are safe, our families are safe. This Public Safety Alliance is going to provide the best strategies throughout Norfolk County to create that environment where we're going to have one of the safest counties in not just the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but I think in the United States.
And as we close, talk about the, I guess, an offshoot or part of the Triad program, the Are You OK program,
Yes.
and about a recent save.
A recent save, the Are You OK program is part of our program. It's pretty much for seniors that we've marketed to, but it really is something that should be taken advantage of for anybody that might be living at home, might be a shut-in, might not have anybody to check in on them. So the Sheriff's Office will call them at their designated time every day just to check in with them. It's a free service. It's a voluntary service. You can volunteer, come off on it and off of it. Most recently, we had an 80-year-old man who we called. We didn't hear back from him, which immediately puts us in a live call scenario. We did get him on the phone. He expressed to us he wasn't feeling well, and we recognized that he may be going through a medical episode. We were able to get first responders on the scene immediately. They did transport him to the hospital, and it's my understanding, this was last week, a week later, he is on his way home recovering. So, but for our phone call, that man might not have made it. We're happy that he did, and he'll have many more years to come. And he's one of our signature men on the program. So that number is listed on the bottom of your screen. If you or somebody you know could utilize that service, we encourage you to sign up. Very simple sign-up process.
I thought that would be the last bit that we would talk about, but we do have a couple minutes, just maybe 2 minutes. I do want to talk about the new K-9 officer and PAL.
PAL is our new K-9 officer. Captain Shangold was awarded duties of being the K-9 officer in charge of K-9 PAL. And we've looked at, this is a picture of K-9 officer Captain Shangold with PAL. I wanted to invest heavily in some of the resources that we can provide to the local communities. PAL is going to serve as a ballistic dog to be able to go out to schools and basically sniff out whether it's guns or any kind of explosive devices. And he will also be trained as a friendly search and rescue dog as well. So it's a two-tiered program that he'll go through. The ballistic training is very intense, and then once he's trained on that, he'll do the friendly search. And when I say friendly search, there are two different types of search. When you send out a dog to go on a hunt for a criminal or a suspect that's into the woods, that dog is trained to go hunt them down, get them. A friendly search is somebody that is missing. So this is somebody that will go out for an Alzheimer's patient, a child is missing, lost in the woods. So PAL is going to be trained on both ballistics and friendly search and rescue. And he will be joined by the end of this month by a new K-9 officer. We don't have the name yet. We just awarded that position to one of our officers, and we're going to have a full K-9 unit that's going to be available for all of Norfolk County to participate in. So we're very proud of that.
That's an update for the next program.
We'll get that now.
But for this program, a lot of information. Thank you so much, Sheriff, and have a great summer.
Yes, we'll be back. Thanks,
I'm
Mark.
glad to hear. I expect it now. And thank you at home for watching. Please remember to support your local access television station for programming just like this.